On the 24th of February 2022, Russia attacked Ukraine. The resulting war has already killed thousands and resulted in millions of refugees. This war of aggression violates international law and has been harshly criticized by governments around the world. To understand how it came to this, we must first take a closer look at the history of the country. Ukraine was founded in 1991 after the collapse of the Soviet Union, although its people, the Ukrainians, have been around for far longer. Throughout its history, the country played an important role in bridging the gap between East and West. This is reflected in its name, which when translated means something akin to borderland, but also in the culture and demographics of the country. Western Ukraine is a lot closer to the rest of Europe, while Eastern Ukraine has a larger Russian influence. This meant that over the years, the country was pulled increasingly between the front lines of East and West. Both sides had their supporters. One option was to pursue a closer relationship with Russia. That promised security through a strong ally. On the other hand, there was the possibility to work together with the West, where a possible membership in the European Union promised economic help for the relatively poor country, and a NATO membership could mean protection and independence from Russia. One government followed the next, some pro-Russian, some pro-European. A clear decision was never made, though, and the tensions within the country grew and grew. One result of these tensions were the countrywide protests in 2013 against the then pro-Russian government. Russia capitalized on the ensuing chaos, annexed Crimea, and started supporting pro-Russian rebels in eastern Ukraine at the same time. Ever since 2014, there has been ongoing conflict in this area, and any attempts at peace talks have proven largely ineffective. In February 2022, the Putin-led Russia formally recognized the independence of these regions in the east and started a large-scale invasion of Ukraine a few days later. Now the regional conflict in eastern Ukraine has escalated to a countrywide war that has been going on ever since. Still, there is one big question that hasn't been answered. Why is Russia attacking? And what is going through Putin's head? The answer to these questions largely depends on who one asks. According to Russian media, the war's main goal is the denazification of Ukraine and to free the country's oppressed Russian inhabitants. Internationally, though, this is largely disputed, because although there are certain neo-Nazi regiments in the Ukrainian military, the same can also be said for Russia. And even though there is a large Russian minority population in Ukraine, of whom many are fighting for independence, there is no real evidence for the oppression of the Russian populace. Those people also suffer from the war in the same way everyone else is. Many experts assume instead that Putin's actions are supposed to prevent a possible partnership between Ukraine and the West, or even a closer relationship with NATO. An independent, Western-oriented Ukraine would not only be bad for Putin's influence on the region, but also for Russia's economy. But in the end, one thing is clear. War is always the worst option, as it brings suffering, death, and destruction.